Cool. So I do record everything I do. Just as well, I've just remembered as well, I do give everybody, if they want to, access to every single masterclass I've ever done. And some people have found it really helpful to just have access to old masterclasses as well. So if you do want them, just give me a shout and I can just, it's completely free. It just means that you can get them on YouTube if you search them, but it's basically, I've got everything in one place. If you want all my old masterclasses that I've been doing for like the last 2 years, just send me a message and I can just add that to your kind of account. And you've got an account if you've ever done anything with me, paid or not. So the fact you're even here means you've probably got an account somewhere. So just let me know and I can give you access to all the masterclasses that I've ever done if you want that. It's a lot of hours. Secondly, it is being recorded, but it's on speaker view through Zoom. So it won't come up as you and your face won't flash up, but this does go to a lot of people and it goes to YouTube and it goes on that masterclasses product. So if you don't want anyone to know that you're here, type in the comments or I will stop recording, and then any questions you've got that are more sensitive that you don't want the world to know about, you can ask me then, if that's okay. If you don't mind, just unmute yourself and ask, but I just want to make you aware that it's not just the people you see here. Like I said, it does go on YouTube, but it does go on that masterclasses backlog, which about 300 odd people see that and have access to, and that goes up all the time. So I just want to make you aware, just GDPR-ness of it all, if you don't want people to know that you're here. And that's not a lack of willing to be visible, by the way. That's just maybe a bit of privacy. That's not me starting to have hammer on anybody who is scared to be visible or whatever like that. So because that's something we're going to cover tonight anyway. And yeah, so if you do want to speak at all, I say unmute yourself or write in the comments in the chat box, which is just at the bottom, and it says chat. Okay, cool. And I will be emailing this recording to you as well as putting it into YouTube, as well as putting it into the masterclasses, so you can have a copy. So just know to probably ignore the first few minutes because it's a bit boring about housekeeping. If I wiggle around a lot, I've still got some kind of random rib pain that the chiropractor is sorting, but I have also got an ice pack on my ribs to, so if I do that a lot and squirm, it's not you, it's totally me, but it's all good. Okay, cool. Hi, Marion, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm okay, and yourself?
Oh, amazing, thank you. We're just going through the recording thing. That anybody who speaks now is on recording. So, but yeah, you can speak. Okay, right. I'll get straight into it. Like some of you work with me, some of you haven't, some of you continuously work with me, and some of you are going to work with me on Wednesday again, which is really exciting. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Lucy, and I work mainly with women who are in business or who are looking to completely turn their lives around and live on purpose, with purpose, and actually find prosperity and clarity and really start to tune into what they're really, really here for. The main things I've done before are Mind Your Money, Life on Purpose, which is now smooshed together and been Prosper on Purpose. That is right, isn't it? I've got that right. My brain's gone a bit shot now. And I do also do course creation for, it started off purely with EFT therapists, but I help anybody now who wants to turn their one-to-one business or their small business into a program or a course their way. So it's not necessarily a blueprint, but that's kind of what I do. I help everybody create amazing courses and everybody does it. So it's really, really cool. And that's kind of what I do, as well as one-to-ones and helping women really get over their shit enough to be able to get their magic out there. Because my passion is seeing women just thrive and just be not just amazing for everybody else, but feel amazing enough inside. And I started that off when I had shoe shops. I was always either skinny or fat or in between. And the only thing that I could ever wear that made me feel good was shoes. So I started off selling shoes, and everybody who walked into my shop used to feel better when they left. And that's kind of where my knowing that simple things can make massive changes. And actually, women who are happy and who feel good inside can change the world. The biggest problem is that we have a lot of shit to get over before we do feel good inside, and we have a lot of obligation, a lot of resentment, a lot of guilt. If you've ever become a mum, you get like the guilt label kind of literally comes as you're in labor. You get the guilt label attached to you, and even if you haven't, if you've been, whatever you've been through, a lot of the women, especially women healers, have a huge amount of guilt, shame, fear as well. So even if you have been able to get over certain things, there's a lot of fear. And fear is like this, again, if you're an EFTer or you do any kind of healing, you'll know that fear is this utter shutdown. It's like this stop you in your tracks type stuff. And when fear gets involved, it's how we work through that in order to be our amazing selves. So I don't just work with people who are healers. I do work a lot with people who've got a lot to give the world, as in the impact that they want to give, a bit different maybe. And when they know they've got more, that's why I'm so passionate about finding our purpose, our true kind of reason for being. But what's become really clear is that doing a lot of reading, a lot of talking to clients of mine and just people in general, was that we hold on to stuff. It doesn't matter how seasoned you are as a healer or how much you've been on this path of self-discovery, like 20 years, 5 minutes, 50 years. We just have this kind of, it's almost like we just hold on. And it doesn't just happen that we hold on to, it can be that we hold on to stuff. So people are hoarders, they hold on to physical stuff, but holding on to emotions, holding on to relationships, holding on to friendships, holding on to things, holding on to ideals. We hold on so much because we're so scared of, if we don't have it, what that will mean. It's happened to me in several parts of my life that I held on so much that when it was gone, when I felt it was ripped from me, it was this like void in my life. And then I kind of associated letting go with voids, with nothingness, with, well, what am I then? And by holding on, it's almost like we have more kind of purpose. Actually, we know who we are more. We're, even if it's not working for us, at least it's an identity. And I would say, mainly I do attract some men to come to my classes and stuff, but mainly women, because I feel that we go through lots of phases of identity in our lives. We go through lots of transitions, and it's not just with motherhood, that's one thing, but like literally going from a little girl to not a little girl anymore, to, are you trying to please people, to all the trauma that's being attached to us. How are we meant to get through this world? Are we going to fight for our rights to do any career we want, or are we going to stay quiet, or do we not know what we're fighting for? And there's a lot of confusion, and what I see with a lot of women is that there's never this clarity, because there's always been either a fight on your belly, and then what about when you want to stop fighting? It's like, well, that's who you are. And so the letting go of it all just seems to encompass everything, really, because I don't know if ever, I put a little post up, if anybody ever gets arthritis or stiff joints in your hands, or anybody gets like a really sore jaw or really high shoulders, or constipated. My mum's she won't mind me telling you, she probably will, but she's not here, she will never watch it, so she gets constipated. Sorry, mum. But the one time that she isn't is when I go and see her. We do a bit of tapping, we sort out what she's holding on to, and she's, without being graphic, she's fine after. And I don't know if you've ever done any kind of particular healing work and you'll feel, oh my God, my shoulders don't hurt anymore, or oh, I all of a sudden need to go to the toilet. It's kind of, it sounds a bit nuts, but your body is literally holding on with you. My stepdad used to have really bad arthritic hands. Now he's pretty spiritual. I remember I said, when I first did this new EFT thing, I went and said, oh, let me try this out on you, it'd be great, not thinking it'd have any effect. He's had these kind of stiff hands for about 25 years. And we just started tapping, and he started realizing that he held on to everything. He didn't mean to, but then he was forced to let go, or he felt forced to let go of his business, of his children's future, of his 2 other wives, of money, do you know what, of a life he thought, of the RAF. And you know, within about 30 minutes of just he hasn't had it since. And so the power of just releasing this attachment to stuff can have such a dramatic effect on us physically and emotionally. And what it does do is allow what's for you to come in. If you're somebody in business who is like trying to find your way, or you're looking for your reasoning, and like I say, I speak to a lot of people about what they're here to do and what's the point of it all? Why am I here? I know I've got something. They're trying to dig, and they're always trying to sort of dig deep. And they say, but I've got all these qualifications, but I've got all this, but I know all this. What am I going to do? And a lot of the time we're holding on to the people we were as well. You know, like when you start on a journey, especially if you have had to or have chosen to really like throw yourself into this healing space, the person who made the decision to heal, the person who decided to take responsibility for your own destiny, is not the person you are now. But we forget that the reason we started was, I want to do this thing, or I'm here to do this thing. You kind of hold on to that, and we don't actually change our ideals to what we want now. And we're so attached to why we started, we can be stuck. So the more you heal, the more you kind of attach to why you even started in the first place. So we've got to really update and reset what's actually important to us. I look back, I was here this morning, just in this room, because it's like lots of like windows in here, and I was just like looking out the window at some stupid o'clock in the morning. For me, 7 a.m. is stupid o'clock, by the way, so I don't think I'm up here at 4 or anything. For me, 7 is pretty darned early. And I was just lying here looking out, and I was like looking at all my old goal setting stuff, and the stuff that I used to want. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want it now. But like, I wrote that, and that was what I thought was important. But 4 years on, that's doesn't even register anymore. It's not who I am and what I want. But sometimes we can get so stuck in what we thought we wanted when it comes to relationships as well, when it comes to businesses, or, you know, the reason we went into it. So the reason to let go was the first thing I wanted to cover. I've actually written stuff down, and I've completely lost what I wrote down. And it's actually, my car will break down from where that's come from. That's interesting. I hope it doesn't. The one I'm driving anyway. The reason to let go is because whilst we're holding on to anything that isn't serving us, we can't move on, and we get stuck. And we can be so scared of letting go, because it's kind of, especially if it's been your identity. Let me just, it's lost for a reason. It's in here somewhere. No worries, it's been lost. That's cool. I'll wing it now. It's cool. The reason we want to let go, the reason we need to let go, is because by holding on, we're not going to progress forward. Also, it will physically hurt you, and it will also cause relationships you're having to be really, really tricky. The biggest thing that I did, I remember the first time I realized how much I was holding on to outcomes was when I here we go, was when I was my ex-husband decided to take me to court for my son. He got a bit annoyed at me. He's a narcissist, so they get cross. And he wanted to take me, so that was fine, to court. Now, I remember getting a call from Cafcass. Now, one of my biggest fears is my children will be taken from me. Biggest fear, living in that fear. That is literally so much so that before I had my daughter, I assumed she would be stillborn. That's literally where I was. I was assuming she'd never come. So when I had her, I went into shock and I couldn't even touch her. I was like, no, I know this. I literally was like, oh my, I had to, luckily I knew tapping then, because I literally had to go, oh my God, like I need to pull myself round to be able to hold her. It was a really bizarre moment, but that's how scared I am, and scared, and how much I assume my children will be taken from me. And that's quite a hard thing to live with when you've got, but then obviously you attract somebody to have a child with who then goes and does that. I mean, you literally attracting what you need all the time. And I thought, this is never going to stop. So what is it I need to let go of? It's not the man. The belief is something I am working on, and is something I have worked on. So I don't necessarily believe it's going to happen, but I have this fear. And obviously we know what fears do. If we don't get rid of them, they just like keep biting our ass. So what am I afraid of? And what do I need to actually do? And all it came is that Max is my little boy. Max is on his own journey. Now, I'm on my own journey, and he chose me to be with him. I'm not in charge of his outcome. There is nothing that I'm not here to dictate the rest of his life. And you could say that about absolutely anybody in your world, anybody you might have responsibility for, anybody you have in your world who you feel a little bit obliged to be there for, or to look out for, or do things for. But it was such a big head change, because obviously it's your child. Well, of course I'm responsible for his life. And you think, well, no, he chose me. I'm not, he chose me to care for him spiritually, but I'm not here to decide how he ends up. I'm not here to decide the lessons he's here to learn. I'm not here to do anything other than be me in his life. So whatever he's chosen to experience is kind of his call, and I'm here as a guide and a support and a parent, but I am not the decider of an outcome. Does that make, and to do that for, I don't know if you've got kids, to do that for a child was like, oh my gosh. And that just, everything changed, because I was like, I literally just need to stand in my power and be the most honest version of me, and know that the right thing will happen, because that's his journey. Even if that is hard, even if that is not what I want, that's not up to me. My job is not to determine the lessons he's going to learn. Maybe he has some hard lessons to learn while he's little, so that he's got me. Maybe he needs to learn stuff so before he's 25 and not living with his mummy anymore and doesn't know what the hell to do. And we don't know. And that kind of started this domino effect of letting go of what we think we should be in control of. And it made me totally not resent his dad. I think you're on your journey too. He picked both of us. This little dude picked us both for whatever reason, and he's going to have his journey, and he picked me to be the best version of me. I'm not. And so when I relinquished that control over the outcome of somebody else, even though that's a 5-year-old boy, the difference was astounding, because I no longer felt this attachment to getting it right, or to doing the right thing, or to letting him down, or to being the perfect. I just thought I can only look at myself in the mirror. Am I being honorable? Am I actually being true to myself, standing in my truth, standing in my power without fear, and going for it no matter what the outcome? And that has been, like I said, that moment, I think it was back in December, kind of started off this understanding of the power of releasing what we hold. And a lot of it can be the things we hold on to about ourselves. Now, a lot of you will know about beliefs. Beliefs are kind of everything. And there's one thing, letting go of beliefs. That can be, I don't want to create another belief, that can be slightly longer process working through beliefs or not. But what we can do, agree, I have carved this with neither of them and they are grounded and whole. Yeah, but you're not here to tell them how their life should be. Their life is their own, so when you've got kids, no, their lives are their own, and to actually not need to be not need the attachment to what they're going to do. But it's the same with anybody. It's the same with your parents, the same with your partners. And you're your partners, and then, I don't know, like, does everyone does their head in? I don't know, like, is it just like a genuinely thing? I don't quite know what, but it's okay, down to the point of like letting go. If right, you've asked someone, or could you just put the clothes away, or could you just would you mind just not leaving stuff out on the side? That's actually more me. If I'm honest with you, I'm the person who leaves the bowl on top of the dishwasher without putting it in. I'm that person, and put my hands up. I'm that annoying person who just forgets to put the lemon away, and I toddle off, and I kind of think I really grind people's shit, but that's a lesson they need to learn, and that's fine. But why can't you just do it? Why can't you just do it? And you can see people getting really antsy. Why can't they just do this thing? Why would they do that? Why is that person come and done that? Why would they do that? And it's really like, you can see this kind of building. Yes, that's based on your beliefs, but in that moment you could go, who the fuck cares? What is the point in me nagging that person? Exactly, Jane. Like, letting it go. Like, if you are so, we're going to start singing Frozen. If you are so bothered by something, do it your fucking self, or chill out. And I know that may sound really, really like, yeah, well, that just is going to lead to ruin. It doesn't. It doesn't, because you have to decide what you're going to hold. And if the dishwasher being put on and everything in there, and there's nothing on the side, is going to make your life happy, stop expecting other people to do it for you. You can say this will make me really happy, this makes me really happy, but to kind of keep demanding things of other people in that way, there's a way to do it. I'll shed some light on that in a minute. There's a way to invite people into your world to do things, but getting really het up about everything, about why people do things, why do they do that, why is literally all of your stuff. And it's actually a sabotage. It's actually like everything, but it really is a sabotage to your happiness. I bet as well you find you get really pissed off at other things and wound up when things are going well. You'll tend to find you might have had a really great day, or something great has happened, and then you'll get really annoyed, or the boiler will go, or someone will bump into your car, or something will happen to make sure that you don't stay in that happy vibration. Because if you're on any of my courses and stuff, you'll understand, but we do a lot with capacity and upper limits and things. I'm not going into that right now, but basically that's what happens, is to keep you in a state of, well, this isn't normal, sort of being all free and easy and happy. But if in the moment that you just that something happens that you don't like, if you just go, okay, there we go, I can choose it right now. I can choose right now to just release, just to surrender to it, just to say, this has happened. And in that moment you can choose. Oh my God, so you gutted when I realized after Nigel died that it's actually you that left the top off the toothpaste. Like, it's actually you who was the problem. Yeah. Yeah, you're not the first person to say, oh my God, it was actually me. I was actually doing that the whole time. It's me that kept running out of water. It's me that kept not filling the Berkey up, stuff like that. So yeah, it's nice to blame somebody else, isn't it? It does help to blame somebody else. But I see it all the time, this blame, this vicious blame circle just gets us really busy at trying to fix other people, gets us really busy at trying to make other people do what we want them to do. And what it doesn't do is shed light on what we need to do. And it can sound really easy, just let it go, just stop, just breathe, just do something else. Now, the reason it can be difficult to just let it go is because of our beliefs. So most of you know about beliefs and about stories and how they massively impact our lives, about the fact that it's not just the trauma, it's not necessarily trauma, but it is reasons behind the trauma. And so there's different ways, again, I'm not going into right now, there's different ways to decide to release those beliefs. But when you actually sit with emotions, beliefs are one thing that I'm not going to go into because that is like a million masterclasses at once. But what I'd like you, because today you can change it now. And that's what I like after masterclass. They literally something they can do right now. So thoughts and feelings, right? They're under our control. Thoughts are the little buggers, right? That once you have one thought, you keep having more. So like I said at the beginning, actually, I'm not an overthinker anymore because I've realized and my body has learned that thinking doesn't help anyone. And that may sound really, really base, but having lots and lots of thoughts is just a massive ego attack. And the more thoughts you have on something, honestly, correct me if I'm wrong, but the more thoughts you have, the more you'll have. Just because you have, even if you write them down, you don't stop thinking, but keeping on thinking about a thing doesn't tend to help it. And thoughts will keep on coming. So by you just stopping acknowledging your thoughts even for a bit, will actually, they're always going to be there. There's always more thoughts that will come into your head, but actually by indulging in thinking too much can actually be the worst thing you do and can be incredibly crippling, because thoughts come from especially if you're under any stress, come from external things. Thoughts come from other people's opinions, from events that are happening or have happened, from tragedies that are going on. They're not coming from in here, they're coming from out here mainly. Now, this is, again, this is just how I see the world and how it resonates with me and how to let go of things. So you might say you're talking shit. That's totally fine. I don't mind when people think I'm talking absolute goulash. I don't like goulash actually, but anyway. But what makes sense to me, in order to let go, is to understand that thoughts are there. And when we get stressed, our thoughts go. If you can think, do thoughts that just come in without your kind of conscious effort, are they ever that helpful when you're not, especially if you're quite stressed, especially if there's a lot going on? Do you start sending yourself slightly insane with thoughts? Like they go crazy, don't they? Especially if and I say you've had an argument with your partner or whatever, and they've gone off, and say your tendency is to be a bit insecure. I'm not, but I'm just generally. But your thoughts could go crazy. Well, they've just walked out at me. They're not happy. They're going to meet somebody. Blah, blah, blah. Can you see where that goes? And that goes with every single thing that might happen. If you're not in a great place and you're not feeling amazing, your thoughts will just be quite devastating and can just eat you up. And it's your little sort of ego on your going, yeah, you see, yeah, you see, and it's not the best part of you. So thoughts really are somewhat of a nuisance a lot of the time. And even when you are there, like doing a maths problem and you're in thought, you already know the answer to any problem you're ever going to face. So thinking about it isn't really going to help you. All it's going to do is cloud your judgment. Again, this was quite a recent revelation about thoughts, because I used to be an overthinker. I'm like a recovered overthinker. Like, I mean, I was always the one up at 3 a.m. who would then never like be able to get, I'd have to write it all out, and then I'd be up till 6. Oh, what's the bloody point? No point going to bed now. And I would be that person. If I was up at 3, I was up at 3. And I thought, well, I just think too much. I just think too much. I can't help it. I just think too much. And it is absolutely trainable, outable thinking too much. And because you go, do you know, you realize that your thoughts aren't there to help you in some ways, especially when it comes at times when you are vulnerable. So when I kind of really looked into thoughts and understood the power they have, not for the good, I started to just turn it down. Just turned my thoughts down and actually start being really, really conscious of my thoughts. Like, why am I thinking that? This is a choice here. No, I'm just gonna let it go. It is really like, do you know, that thought is coming from a stressful situation, is coming from an external circumstance that has nothing to do with me. Because anything external, yes, you're viewing it, but you're viewing it how you want to view it, and that's often with thought. You are deciding to view something in a certain way, yes, based on beliefs, yes, based on experience, yes, and based on what's going on inside of you. But your thoughts come in and really do hamper things quite a lot. So with thought, it's a case of choosing them, or just saying, not right now, thanks. I hear you, I see you, thought, not burying them, pretending they're not there, but saying, you know, this isn't going to help me right now. You're not where my focus is going to be. And choosing to say, not right now. This isn't going to help me. And right now I need to focus on here, because here is getting too involved. So thoughts can be really great when we're in a really great space. But they come like with free thoughts. So thoughts that aren't caged, but thoughts that are allowed to come and ebb and flow. So you see a lot of people doing, quite a lot recently actually, like tapping and writing. Like there's nothing quite so incredible as writing and getting thoughts out, but you will find that they're not just thoughts that are stuck here. They are thoughts that then flow because of where your soul is. They're not mind thoughts. They are soul kind of knowings, because like I say, everything you ever think you need to think about, you already know. If it's something you've decided you want to do, you can already do it. You're just in a process of relearning. Does that make sense? So if you say, well, I want to be a pilot, well, you already are. You just have to go and relearn it now. Not think about, should I be a pilot? Can I do it? That will just get you, and just do it or don't do it. But thinking about it is not really going to help you. Either do it. I'm a big believer in that. So I'm not really a Star Wars fan, but when it comes to Yoda, it's like either do it or don't do it. Trying, thinking, really not helpful. That's just that's an act that's only going to slow you down and cause you stress. And emotions, feelings and emotions are also things that allow us to indulge in quite a lot of negativity. Okay, so if you think about emotions there's loads of scales of emotions. I mean, you might know there's loads of different types of emotions, but the ones that are really, really crippling to us are things like shame, fear, guilt, envy, things like this that actually deplete us wholly. And then we get up to fear, believe it or not, you kind of go your way. And that's where actually, when you're afraid, that's actually when you can start to take action. Because while you're in those sort of literally the ones that are just literally ripping you apart, when you feel guilt, when you feel shame, they have to go, because not only will they destroy you, they will destroy anything you love as well. When you are guilty and shameful and you cannot help but like emit it all around you, it's, you know, when you're in a bad place, you know, if you're in it for long enough, you then have, you attract those people into your world. But if you will sort of repel people out, or you'll start blaming people, because living with all those horrible feelings is well, it's just so I can't, I mean, if ever you've lived with them, they're so damaging when you just feel guilty for everything. Now, I'm saying let it go. I'm going to give you a really great way right now to start letting go of emotions or things that happen to you easily. Okay. So what, so say, let's say, for example, they want to give me a life experience that's been really shit that they have held on to and it started to eat away at them. Anybody want to give me one on the chat, or I can make one up? Or I can use one of mine. Maybe if nobody wants to, I will make one up then. I'll do one of mine. I've got quite a few. Oh God, now I think all these shameful things in my life that have happened. I don't wonder which one I should pick now. No, so okay, let's say, let's, for argument's sake, say you lose a job. You lose a job that you like. You get fired from a job that was your main source of income, and actually that's not what you wanted. You didn't go in there thinking, oh, what a relief. You have all these horrible feelings, or you know, you maybe start a business that is failing. Do you know what, we're going to do that because that's more relevant to who probably is here and who I work with. So let's say you start a business, you've got all the hope, you got, you're gung-ho, you're like, I'm rocking it, I'm amazing, I've got this, and it's not working. And you're like, nope, it's all right, I'm gonna do all the things, I'm gonna do everything I can, I'm gonna just plow on, and I've got this, I'm amazing. Especially again, my world, I see a lot of people who are healers, or people who are inspirers of other people, and they actually want to heal the world. And yet, bam, it's falling on its ass, it's falling on its ass. And you're like, gosh, it starts to weigh, doesn't it? And you're like, but this is what I want to do. This is everything. And all of a sudden, and actually, in the end, you just say, like, do you know what? I can't keep it up. I can't do this anymore. And you know, either you say, you get a job, or either it just ends, or it's just everything is kind of failing. It could be that you give up on it entirely, or it could just be that you're just in this despair of what the hell do I do? Now, in those moments, literally the thing is to grab onto everything that's working. If there is anything working in your business, or you think, right, I'm going to just hold on to that because it might not bring me any joy, but at least it's bringing me some money. Or I don't, that's just, at least that something is good here. When really we need to be looking and saying, okay, so how about we just start not worrying about what we're holding on to, but think about what we can let go of. Because when something is crushing you and something is so sad and you're like, I can't cope, whether it's losing a job or your business is flopping, what tiny little incremental, I talk about incremental change a lot everyone's done my courses before, we really go into incrementally changing and upgrading life. But what can you do? What can you let go of, to the point of, do you know what, can I just let go of that bloody Facebook page because I hated it anyway? I'm going to just let that go. Yeah, outcomes, but it's like, it's letting go of a specific thing within the bigger thing to let go of. So what is it? What can I just let go of? What did I do every day? Do you know what? I got up and I went to the clinic, or I got up and I set up my space, or I got up and I went to work and I parked in there and I got myself a coffee from that Starbucks and I walked into work. I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm just going to let that bit of it go. I'm going to let the habit that I actually enjoy, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. Oh, it's good to see you in. I'm not, even if I enjoyed that, I'm not going to see that person. So that, and I've done it before where I've said, I've like, my archetype is a maverick. So I tend to burn shit down, like as in business wise. Like, it's not working right, burn. It's all going to burn. I'm going to start from scratch. That's kind of what I used to do. So I'd say, right, I'm going to close that thing down. I'm going to start something new. And I'd have to say goodbye to certain clients. But it's letting them go and saying, that's okay. That's a hard thing to do, but I'm not letting go of the whole thing, but I'm letting go of a little bit of it. When I stopped doing Pilates classes like a year ago, I was like, wow, I'm going to let go of the little income it brought me in. I'm just going to say, oh, good. Yes. Thanks, Stefania. I'll read that in a minute. Yeah. So, I let go of the money it was good. So I was like, this is a part of my business I can't do anymore because it's hot. It's this, but I'm worried. What if those people, what if I need them again? What if I don't make any money ever again? And that source of income, it's easy. I'm just literally doing Pilates 4 times a week. It's easy. Why, that's what I can do. But it wasn't my genius. It was just something I was really good at. And it wasn't fulfilling me. I would get up in the morning and go, oh God, I've got a class to do now. That's how I would feel. And that's not how we need to be feeling every morning. So last November, I made the decision to let it go. But it was like, I had to say, right, okay, I'm going to release the attachment to the money it makes. I'm going to release the attachment to the people I've been seeing all through COVID. Every day I've seen them, and I've helped them actually maintain sanity in some days, because it was really I did it every day for them, all the way through lockdown. I'm letting go of that. I'm letting go. What if I get fat because I'm not doing Pilates 5 times a week? What if I get, well, current circumstances, but what if I put on, what if I just lose any motivation because exercise is really good for my brain? What if I just let go of myself? What if it's the wrong decision? So what I did was I had to let go of each of those fears, each of those, okay, all decisions are right. So I'm going to let go of it not being right. Because what can I do? I can either stay here or I can move there, but I can't stay still. So it's not a case of, right, I'm ditching everything, suck it up, let's go, because that is kind of a nervous system overload. And then that can bring a lot of anxiety up, and that can actually put us straight back into freeze mode and go, no, do you know what? It's all right. I'm not going to write the email. I'm not going to. And if you've ever done that, that's what procrastination can be a bit like. Is that, no, I'm not going to do it now because too many things are too scary. I'm just not going to do it. So that's what can happen there. So it's a case of incrementally letting things go around a bigger thing. When it comes to, it can happen the same with a marriage, with if you go bankrupt. My parents went bankrupt a couple of times, and it was my mum, she was doing it a long time ago. She said, I'm going to let go of attachment to stuff. Like, I've got my family, and I'm going to let go that, yeah, okay, I love that chest of drawers, but okay. So she, I suppose, really started me thinking about letting go of little things around the big thing. And you'll often find the attachments you have to the little things are based on the beliefs around the big thing anyway, if that makes sense. So the worries you have about all the money coming in, okay, that's because I'm worried about consistency of money. The worries I've got about being fat, well, I worry about getting unfit and letting myself go, and I can be lazy. But I had to realize that sometimes I can be a bit lazy. I deal with the belief around that, but I think there was a lot of these little beliefs were all little buried in these little bits of letting go. So allowing them to go, okay, I'm just going to let go of the fear around that. When I actually came to writing the email, it was a relief. I was like, I don't have to do something I don't really want to do 4 times a week now. Same as in a relationship. I'm going to let go of the fact that we had coffee every morning together. I'm going to let go of the fact that, you know what, we did laugh when we did this thing together. I'm going to let go of, there is good bits and bad bits to everything. Not every relationship is an absolute car crash. Well, some are, but I'm just saying not everything is bad. And so when something ends, it's the good things we think we were really like, oh, let's hold on, because it's not that bad. But if something does end, even if we don't want it to end, it's letting go of everything incrementally in order for the big thing to be released. And we don't have all of this. So the first thing you can do now is just say, what is it that you are currently holding on to? What is it you're afraid of? What is it you are holding right now? Are you holding on to something? I mean, there's loads of me. We can be holding on to jobs, houses, money. A lot of people I meet, I suppose, not just in my experience, people I meet, hold on to money and don't spend any money because they're terrified they're not going to get any more. So I meet this is just a lot of people I meet like this, because that's like the courses and the programs I do, is to help people out of that. But they hold on so much that they actually get less prosperous, and they actually go more and more into poverty, because they're so afraid of letting it go that it won't come back. They actually start causing no flow at all. It won't come to them because they're holding it so tight. And anything you hold on to so tightly wants to leave, will want to leave. In order for things to come to you, you have to let them go. I mean, I said this to I was saying to my 5-year-old, I says, what would you do if you're in the playground and a lad just started chasing you? He said, I'd run away. I was like, right, yeah. So the more something wants to get you, the faster you're going to run, right? Now, if that thing just said, let's have a chat, you'd stop. Went, yeah. Well, that's how life works. The more we chase after something, the more, even though it has no fucking clue what we want, it's going to just scarper. And my 5-year-old's quick. Do you know what I mean? So no one's going to catch him. But I'm saying that's in general. When we grab, want something so bad, when we want love, when we want attention, when we want money, when we want success, when we want anything, when we want health, when we want to stop being tired, it doesn't matter what you want. The more you literally hold on to it, the less you're going to have it. Because the way that we actually are free, and the way that we actually get everything that we truly want, is through releasing the attachment to it in the first place, releasing the need and the desire and the want. Because when we are left wanting, we are actually left lacking. When we are wanting something all the time, it's coming from a place of lack, of you don't even believe you have it. And actually, everything that you truly desire in life, you already have. But it's the lack of the connection to it, and the lack of the bringing it into your world right now. And the worst thing to do is keep wanting something and coveting it. They've got it, I want it. Why can't I be like that? How come they can do the job and I can't? And I remember I joined this businesswoman's club, and everyone's a millionaire. What the fuck are they doing so different? Why can't I be a millionaire? I'm literally going so far after it. Of course it's not, because I'm there in sort of envy and jealousy, and I'm trying to copy what they're doing, and we copy what other people are doing, because and we just lose everything of ourselves. We stop being who we are. We start trying to grab on so much. Hence why people who do that their whole lives end up with arthritis. That's what arthritis, especially in the hands, is this kind of this real, it's why people get terrible shoulder and back pain. If you've ever had like shoulders up here, it's this real kind of desperation to hold on, and you might not even know it. I mean, when we're holding on, like I say, symptoms are constipation, real anxiety, lack of sleep, overthinking, blaming, arguments with people. These are the key things that will be happening in your life when you are holding on to something. And same as if you're having arguments with people, we need to let go of trying to convince people of our truth. It doesn't matter. Everyone's right. Everybody, what does it matter if they believe you or not? That's just your ego talking. What does it matter if you're going to keep having an argument with somebody and you're always at odds? Can you not let go of that? Can you say, this, I'm done with having this. Not necessarily done with you, but this isn't okay. I'm going to let go of my attachment to the part of our relationship that needs to argue, and the part of us that needs to have that passion coming through argument. I'm letting go of that. But a lot of the time we see our identity in the things we hold on to. Like, well, I used to think, oh, I'm a really fiery person. If part of one of the things I was really worried about when I started healing was that I would lose my fire. I would just be so healed. I know now it's like, oh, chortle. No one's that healed. But like, I thought, I'm going to get so healed and so perfect. I kid you not, this is genuinely a fear, that I won't have my thing. I won't have my fire. And everyone knows me for like the fire and like the and the ideas and the passion. And it was like, yeah, but actually, when I let go of it, I was just being triggered all the time. I was just in a permanent state of like, I didn't have control over my fire. I was being controlled by, you know, by anybody and anything who chose to trigger me. It was awful. I think, but I was so worried about losing the part of me that actually was emotional, was felt things. I thought, if I become too healed, I'm not going to have these emotions, and I'm going to be just flatlining. And actually, that scares me. I don't want to lose that part of me. So for a while, I didn't go and do the really deep work so that I wouldn't lose that part of me. And actually, all I was able to do was feel free to be fiery. So when I am passionate, but without angst and without anger and without blame. I'm actually passionate. It's fun. And so we sometimes need to let go of who we think we are and who we tell ourselves we are, and have a really fucking good look in the mirror and say, really, do I even believe that about you? I might talk the talk and I might walk the walk, but is this really me? And allow those parts of you to go that aren't. And letting go of the bits that aren't really you, that you've kind of taken on as you. Like, I do talk a lot, right? Granted, but believe it or not, I'm not an extrovert at all. If I go to a party, yes, I might dance on the pool table until I'm finished, then I want to leave and I don't want anyone to talk to me. So I don't do anything for like lots and lots of people to go, oh my God, look, she's amazing. I used to be on stage, I was an actress, but I'd never stay behind. I just go home. I used to go onto stage and just leave before anybody came to the stage door. I didn't get any love from that. I just got a love from performing, but I didn't get a love from all the attention. Like, the attention used to cripple me. That's why I couldn't like do speaking, if you like. I couldn't do this years ago because I was so scared of being seen as me. But I could go and act, and I could go and be on stage, and I'd go and be in films and go and do all sorts of things, but I would have to leave. So, but people had the idea of me that I was somebody else. And sometimes you can play into other people's ideas of you. And when people think you are something, you can want to defend yourself. I was probably the most defensive person in the frigging universe. But you can say, well, that's not me. That's not me. It says, but you know what? Maybe it's me to you. Maybe I need to let go of what other people think of me. Because what you think of you is just your opinion on you. Any single person you meet will know a different side to you based on them. So if people want to have their opinion on you, that's okay. That's cool. That's their opinion. But everyone's going to have a different one. And actually, how people see you will differ to every single person. Yeah, it's called an ambivert. Introvert, extrovert's an ambivert. It was really happy. It was really happy when I knew I had a word, Jane. So, and if you're an introvert and an extrovert, you're an ambivert. And I always thought I was weird. I am, but not for that. So it's releasing letting go of what other people might be thinking. I see it all the time. Oh, let's not sing in the street because of what that person I've never met might say. I really don't care what that person I've never met might say, because that person I've never met might say something because they could never do that because they haven't got the confidence, or they're worried about what people might say. We are so crippled by other people's opinions. It's not even people we don't know. It can happen, and again, I talk about this in my programs a lot. Other people we live with, because their blocks, especially if you on your journey upwards or healing, other people's opinions of you that you live with can start rubbing off, and we can start believing them. And the problem, when we start believing things that we know in our soul aren't true, it can start hurting us, either physically or emotionally or financially or in our business. We start actually believing other people's truths about us based on their shit. So we have to be really, really, we have to sort of really let go of other people's views on us, get very clear on how we are and how we feel about ourselves and who we are. And I say that, but without attachment to it, because you might change in 5 minutes. So it's letting go of everything that we think we are, everything that other people think we are, and just maintaining this very much in the sense of now and being and a knowing, a pure knowing and trust in yourself. And when someone says, "Oh, God, you're so annoying," I'm like, okay, sorry you feel that way, or not, or just say, okay, I hear you, or not, or just say, fuck off. Either way, doesn't really I don't care. Um, why do you do that? Because I want to, otherwise I wouldn't. There is a real sense you can look in when somebody brings something to your plate and says, this is my experience of you. You can go, what I do immediately goes, does that resonate? Does that make me want to go, no, no, I'm not. How dare you? If I do that, it resonates. There's something in me that believes them. If I'm like, I go, I think that's a you problem, mate. I don't think that's a me. I think that's a you. Yeah. So that's definitely a you problem. And that's fine. I don't mind you thinking that about me, but that isn't a me problem. But if something resonates with me, then I go, oh, I actually say, thank you. I'm going to have a look where that resonates. I don't need to have a discussion because it's none of your fucking business. It's mine. But thank you for highlighting it. It obviously resonates. And is that something I need to work out? Or is it something I actually need to look at and think, is that a shadow part of me? Because we have shadows. And I don't care how much healing we do. And I get told, oh, you think you're so fucking perfect. I get that a lot. Oh, you think you're healed? I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. I think I'm an absolute nightmare, hot mess sometimes. What I do know is I'm okay with my shadows. And actually, I connect with my dark parts and my shadows. And I sometimes like to, send them some soup, because it's quite lonely being a shadow. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I just need a little bit of a cuddle, and I need a bit of like TLC, and go, do you know what? You might be my shadow. All right, we've got to live together. We might as well get on. Do you know what I mean? So your shadows aren't there to be spun out, they're there to be accepted as well. And we all have dark and light. And you know something, the lighter we are, some of the darknesses are even darker. And we are so, sometimes we're so intent on dispelling the darkness and the shadows and the icky things, when maybe if you think of all your shadows, as I was discussing this on one of my programs before, and it got quite relevant. It's just relevant, I think, to tonight. I didn't think it was going to come up, but if you think of like your shadows and your dark bits as like, things you've locked in the cellar. You've not moved house, just locked it in the cellar. You don't want anyone to go down there. So you've like put egg boxes around it. It's a dirty secret. No one wants to know about it, but it's going to come out. At some point, someone's going to go, oh, what's that down there? And it's going to open up, and you've neglected it. You haven't given any food. Whatever it is that's down there is getting nastier and meaner, and it's getting more and more fucked off that you've ignored it. So why ignore it? Why not do you know what? This is part of me. Is it something I feel I need to expel, or is this something actually that's helping me get lighter? Is this showing me the light? Is this the yin yang thing? And there's a lot of beliefs that hold us back, and there's a lot of parts of us that, you know, we've created in our mind, but sometimes our shadows are our biggest asset. You know, how would you connect if you're somebody who helps other people? How do you connect with them if you don't understand the darkness of it? I'm not saying you live in it, but are you aware? And do you, like I say, do you actually go, do you know what, you're showing me where where the light can come in more? It's like, again, this is not something everybody will agree with, but it's something that the more and more healing work I do, sometimes the shadows come up. I think, fuck, I did not see that coming. But actually, without it, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have propelled to this level. And then the shadow, you know, so I'm just musing, putting it out there as we're so quick, I'd say, to let go of everything. Maybe we're trying to force some things out. Maybe we need to let go of what we think is right. Maybe we need to let go of, you know, getting visible, for instance, especially again, if you want to promote what you do. Getting visible isn't about showing everything good that you are. It's about understanding all the things that you've struggled with, and the things you struggle with every day. They're your biggest asset in life. Like, the things you struggle with are the things, especially if you are here to help people, are the things you will help people with the most. Does that make sense? Like, your biggest struggles are also your biggest asset. And that's the same, I believe, with your shadows. You know, when you can actually look into someone's eyes and see the things that they're struggling with, the darknesses that they are struggling with, and resonate with them, that's a powerful thing. And whether it's your job or what you've chosen to do, your profession, to heal and to you know, be that person for other people, or whether you're just a human being who wants connection, connecting with people on the light and the dark is a really powerful thing. And, you know, it's like I said, shadows rather than kind of you know, dark and murky beliefs that aren't serving you, and delving into that and actually becoming something you don't want to become. It's just an idea that maybe not everything needs to be gotten rid of. That's all. So when we'll go back a bit, because I went off a tangent with the shadow thing. But a really great way to start the letting go process, like right now, is every single thing, every time that you're kind of doing something and an emotion comes up that's kind of base. So you've got the fear, anything below courage, really. So you've got fear, guilt, shame, envy, those kind of things. Choose to go, no. What is it around? And choose to say, no. Is this what joy would do? And I just can even say love, but or peace, or whatever word resonates with you up on that kind of higher scale. Is this what the me that wants to be joyful every day, is this what she would do? Especially if you've tuned into future self, which again is something I do quite a lot on my courses and things. We do quite early on. We really tune into that future version of you. But is this what love would do? But I would say go higher than love. I mean, love's pretty high up. We've got joy and peace above love. You know, and if it isn't, why the fuck are you doing it? You know, do you want discontent? Are you actually needing the argument? And that's fine if you do, but ask yourself why. So before you start on this trail of feeling shit, quite frankly, ask yourself, is this joyful? And if it isn't, why am I doing it? And it may sound really simple, but just try it. Like, you know, when you get into a little argument, or like, I don't know, my daughter she's amazing at Riley, like literally not so good now. She's starting to piss her off. I'll be all honest with you. Last year, she's not been able to do it as much, which really winds her up. But when you can see yourself being wound up, or you can see yourself going on this kind of, this getting angry and angry, is this real? Is this who I want to be? Is this me? Or is this be me, is this me now giving in to the emotions of the moment? And can I just walk away? And a lot of the time, the reason you can't walk away is because you want the argument, you want to be right. A lot of the time you'll want the argument. There's a part of you who wants that fight. So ask yourself why. Like, what if I didn't? What if I just stepped back and went, "Phew." What if I didn't step into that version? And what if I just said no? And honestly, that can be one of the most powerful ways to change your beliefs, is just not indulging the pattern of behavior every time. And so when you see yourself getting into a feeling and an emotion and a position that you don't like, one of the most powerful things is this really what joy would do? I don't want to be fucking joyful. Why not? Because I want to be angry. They deserve my anger. I don't know how many of you have thought, no, they don't deserve to get let off. Who are they to get let off? Who are they? They hurt me, and I'm going to bloody well be angry at them because they don't deserve for me not to be. If anybody's been really hurt by anybody, I don't know if that's a place that you recognize, but it can even be that on a smaller basis, on like, they don't deserve to be forgiven. They don't deserve for that. So you get to decide what you're going to hold on to. So holding on to anger will eat you up. Holding on to hatred will eat you up. And a top tip, which I had to learn. I chose to learn, and I think I've spoken to a couple of you about it before, about forgiveness, is you don't need to forgive everyone you meet. You don't need to forgive the people who've wronged you. You need to let go of the attachment to what they've done to you. And you need to forgive yourself for holding it. You've held space for that person who's hurt you, and you need to forgive yourself for doing that. And then you need to let go of the attachment to what might happen to them, to their karma. You don't know when the karmic path is going to come and bite their ass. It's nothing to do with you. And this is the thing, we get very attached to, well, they wronged me, karma. But you're not karma. You're not here to tell, the universe when to come, and that might be in 3 lives' time. That's not up to you. So when you release attachment to they deserve it, oh man, I wish I could kill him. Like, I'm really not sure who you think you're helping, and I know that it's like, it can be quite a primal feeling, but you're not your monkey brain, right? You're not. And I know that might be like, but like, monkey brains are really helpful. Going into a monkey brain, really helpful in times of labor and birth and things like that, when actually we need to go straight back to our kind of monkey ways, if you like, but we're not that. And what we can do is decide, we might want their comeuppance to come, but that is nothing to do with us. And by trying to dish out karma, we get our own. So what are you going to do? So you're either going to be angry at somebody, resentful, when you've had a really shit marriage and they took everything from you and they still want to hurt you, and you think you're a fucker. You are you, and you're like, you, and you're there and you are hating somebody. I know we've all heard it before, but we really are just destroying our own soul. But there is this thing out there, we need to forgive everybody. And I 100% don't agree. Because forgiveness of them is up to them and their universe, and them and their dharmic path and their karmic path. Your forgiveness is you. And if you've held something, you need to forgive yourself for holding space for a person who you hate. That's the thing you need to do. Or forgive the version of you that feels responsible for co-creating that situation. Because in every, again, when we do more healing work, we realize that every single situation we've ever experienced, we've co-created. So then we can actually feel responsible for, we can go down and think, well, why would I go through that? Why would I choose to go through trauma like abuse and rape and accidents and bankruptcy and all of the, why would I choose that? And we can actually then get guilty about making the choice to go through. Just so we can start really going on a whole train. So we need to just let go of all attachments to that, forgive ourselves like unashamedly forever, but choose to surrender every single day. Choose to surrender to surrender the feelings, right? So I said the one thing we can do about letting go of things that happen can be incrementally doing that. What we sometimes need to do with emotions, right? So just to say, well, I know you're sad, let it go. Oh, yeah, I'm fine now. Yeah, that's great. Cheers, Luce. You've cured me. We'll let it go and I won't be sad anymore. Amazing. Sometimes we need to feel it, like really feel it and express it. Because what we suppress only gets worse. We sometimes just need to express. It needs to come up and out. Now we need to monitor ourselves on how we're going to, if it's humongous, if the grief is just overwhelming and all we're doing is expressing, like I would always say, oh no, don't distract yourself because that won't let it come out. Sometimes you need to let yourself express in like bursts so that you don't completely so it doesn't take over you again. So if you it's expression, but it's also then letting yourself be distracted for a bit to go and actually think, I just need a break from this. I need to get this out, but I also need to take care of myself. And it is okay to be distracted. There's a fine line with distracting all the time. So you need to make sure you're not distracting yourself all the time. But when we're expressing ourselves so much that we can actually go into blame of other people. So it's a case of allowing the expression to come up. So we're not suppressing and pretending we don't feel them, but also looking after if that's something that's getting out of control. Do we then need to distract ourselves? Do we then need to do some meditation or tapping or breathing or I don't know if any of you like watching a bit of Downton Abbey or whatever it might be that you do just to give yourself some joy and a break from the expression can be really powerful. But it does need to come out and be exercised. It does need to be felt. And we need to sit with it, understand it, and let it go. Whilst we're pretending that we're not sad, I used to talk about it a lot, but like toxic positivity. Like it's all very well being positive, but if it's not real and it's you just trying to like do happy vibes on top of like devastation, it's not going to help you. So pretending to be happy is not a place to be happy. And the difference between I was having this discussion about it. I did a little kind of saying on it before, but there's sometimes people think, oh, well, if you pretend to be happy, eventually you'll be happy. And that's the fake it till you make it. Let's just pretend that we're super duper rich. Let's just pretend, because if we pretend it or pretend we're really happy, we're going to pretend that all these things are happening, because then that will happen. And it's never really sits up. I got the kind of the idea behind it, but it's never sat with me, because surely pretending is lying to yourself, if nothing else. And that is really the biggest way to shoot holes in your authenticity and to shoot holes in your I can't remember the word, but it'll come to me. So it really does kind of, it's a really icky way to pretend. The one thing I did when I was going through a really tough time, and my friend would always say, oh, how are you today? Integrity, thank you. In shoot holes in your own personal integrity. Thank you. You've been on my course, haven't you? So you knew what I was talking about. Right. Okay. So the difference in like, so for example, when my friend would always contact me, she'd say, how are you today? It'd be like, oh shit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I've been saying this now for a couple of weeks. Every time she texts me, bless her cotton socks, because I'm just saying, I'm shit, I can't, blah and blah and blah. And I was like, I don't really want to be saying this. I've said it now. Every morning I do wake up and I feel like shit, but it's been 2 weeks and I need to kind of not, I don't want to feel this anymore. I get there's honesty, and then there's just like dwelling in it, and then there's living, and then it becomes who you are. And I thought, and I remember thinking, oh, well, I just pretend to be happy. I was like, no, but what I do know is I know I can be happy. So I dug into the belief of the possibility that I could be saying something different. So every time my friend would contact me saying, "You're right," you could tell the pensiveness even in her text messages. Oh shit, she's going to tell me how she really is. And I'd say, I'm fucking amazing. And that's how I want to feel. Now, I wasn't pretending to be fucking amazing. I was saying, I am believing I am amazing and I've got this. I was a real belief that that's where I could be, because that's what I wanted to create. And it was amazing how quickly the belief that I could feel anything, I didn't need to be that person, but I could be this person. It was amazing, the complete difference. It was believing it and then getting it and then actually realizing it. So because I like rhyming things, rather than it being fake it till you make it, it's believe it till you receive it. Do you see the difference is I'm not pretending that everything's okay. I just believe it doesn't have to be like that. And I believe in something different. And I went so far into the belief of what I could create that it got created. I wasn't pretending something wasn't realized, because I believe it with every part of me. So it's a real different headspace to believing something can be different. And when you are expressing a lot, at some point, yes, you need to stop being that expressive all the time can then become who you are. Does that make sense? So sometimes we need to say, well, what do I believe is possible? And I set little anchor goals of mine. I like to set in my phone, my passwords and stuff. And I was like, why is this one goal? Why is this not happening? And I changed it on my phone. My daughter says, well, hey, why's your password changed? I'm like, oh, I've changed it. She went, oh, why have you changed it? You know, because I had this nuts password of like a financial monthly thing that I really want to achieve. I was like, do you know what? Because I don't really believe it right now. Not that I'm being negative, but like with everything that's going on in my life, I'm not really doing what I need to be doing to create that. And I'm okay with that. But I've got this anchor that I've got, this like password that I'm typing in, and I'm kind of negging myself out because I know I currently don't believe that's possible. So I just gave myself something more realistic, and within 2 days I'd actually hit the target, because actually I believed that was possible. So I was noticed all of a sudden I started, oh yeah, someone's typed me about, oh my God, yeah, someone hasn't done that invoice, or oh yeah, someone's asked me contracted me to do some work for them here. Oh, and then that person, I said, oh yeah, actually I've got all these things in my inbox I haven't responded to because I couldn't be bothered, because I was I was sleepy. But because then I'd made the financial target possible, I kind of responded to people rather than just this. What does it matter if I'm putting like this ridiculous £100,000 a month type thing? That I don't believe that right now. So me putting it in there is just not. I'm never going to receive it. Now I probably could receive it if I believed it, but I don't. So I brought it down to something I actually believed I could achieve. It was slightly out of my reach, but I believed it, and literally 2 days later, it was fine. So I'm not saying always has to be financial, but it can also be a physical belief in what we can hit. And are we trying to create something we don't actually believe? And do we need to let go of, think, you know what, I'm okay with saying I need to rein it in because I don't believe that yet. Do we need to do that? It's knowing what to let go of and what to hold on to. But sometimes we create goals and we create things that come from a place of what we should want, and B, come from a place of that aren't realistic in our own head. So yeah, like I said, so go through things you really want to create. Ask yourself if you believe it and you believe it's possible. The biggest problem with like manifestation is people put all these goals out there, but they don't believe it could ever happen. That's the, the biggest thing is believing it. The next biggest thing, the reason it doesn't happen is because people don't take action. They manifest the fuck out of it and then just go and have a coffee. Oh, nothing's going to happen. But if you don't believe it can happen, the inspired action won't come either. And you won't have enough faith in yourself to do the actions that it takes. I mean, everything is possible, isn't it? But your belief behind it is key. And sometimes we need to let go of the bigger stuff, have it there to allow the littler stuff to happen as well. So like little things like, oh my God, I can make things happen quite quick. I don't know if you're the same, but oh my goodness, I just need a couple of quid for the car park. I'll just find a couple of quid for the car park in the car somewhere. Or I just really need a tissue to burn my nose. There's always one there. Like, where did that come from? Because I wanted it to be there. There's little things you can, and when you start really seeing yourself manifesting, I really need a pen. I really want a pen. I really want to write this thing down. Yeah, of course, there's a pen here somewhere. You'll find a pen. You'll find the money to do things you want to do. Most people will find the money if they want to do something. Something will happen. Yeah, that is something to be so good for me. I believe in that thing so much, or that is going to bring so much joy in my life. I'll make it happen. Hey presto, most people will make things happen because the belief behind it is what's making it happen. I'm not sure where we got onto that tangent about believing stuff, but the act of letting go. Today, you can, if you've got a big thing going on in your business, if it's about a business or a job or an uncertainty, we need to let go of thinking about it right now. We need to let go of what the thoughts that we're thinking. We need to let go of what we believe we are capable of. We need to let go of all the fears around it, and we do that by incrementally letting go. Like I say, I cover the incremental changes a lot more. My ice pack's gone limp. A lot more in like my full-blown programs that I run, but incrementally just releasing tiny little bits at a time will mean that the big thing will go. The next thing to do with letting go is understanding that your emotions are entirely a choice. 100%. Your feelings and your emotions, yes, it might be based on a circumstance, but if they're negative feelings and emotions, you can get to choose not to be affected by the external things that are happening, and you can choose something else. You can choose to sit in a different space. You can choose love and joy. So the process really is, okay, do I need to surrender to it? Do I just need to feel like devastation? Do I just need to feel utterly shameful? Do I need to live in that just for a bit? Okay, so what then I can choose to sit in joy. And if I don't want to, why not? Or what if I just did? What if I just did do that? What terrible thing would happen? So there's two things that will happen there. Again, cover all this, but you either uncover the belief of, why can't I have that? What is it that's stopping me? Oh, that's because I'm a terrible person. I deserve this, yada, yada. Or what if I did just live in joy? Then you'll get your negative consequences to being happy. Then you'll get another set of beliefs that are basically the reasons that will always stop you, which is the psychological reversal, basically, or negative consequences, sabotages, whatever they are. to say, well, no, you don't, well, no, you can't live in joy because you have got all this to do, you've got this to do. People like you don't live like that, blah, blah, blah. You have all, you know, if you did live in joy, what would people think? They think that you don't care anymore, or, you know, it happens a lot if you're in a relationship with somebody, for example, or a friendship where they aren't where you are and they are living in it all the time, you can get accused of being heartless and cold. Why don't you feel like that? It's because I don't want to. And it can come across as actually, oh, right, so you just don't feel anything. Well, no, I just don't want to feel that. That looks shit. Feeling that sad just looks rubbish. I think, well, how, you know, it can come across as you can be being heartless, but don't get drawn into that. Because say somebody dies or something terrible happens, there's a difference between going, wow, that must be tough, and oh my God, that's soul destroying. Not everything has to be yours to take on. And if you don't want to get upset about something, you don't have to. It doesn't mean that you're heartless. You can just let go of, do you ever feel like, oh God, I really should feel worse about that thing happening, or I really should feel bad about that? Or why not just not feel bad about it, take an action and move on? If you accidentally bump into someone's car, you can feel bad about it. You can feel terrible. You can feel devastated. Or you can leave your number and crack on and not think about it until maybe they phone and then you deal with it. But these thoughts and big feelings of guilt and feeling bad and feeling like a bad person have only come up because you've chosen them to come up. If you do bump into somebody, think, well, you were responsible for that. You chose that to come into your, even if someone bumps into you, say somebody crashes into your car, it wasn't your fault, but on some level you brought it into your world. So choose to think, okay, well, I'm on this road as well. Yes, that person's bumped into me. For whatever reason, I've chosen to experience this. So am I going to sit with anger, sit with rage, sit with who the fuck do they think they are? Or am I going to accept responsibility for just being in this place at this moment and being gifted the opportunity not to hold on to something? Because the likelihood is when you've chosen that you want to let go of stuff, you now get given opportunities to let go. You know, like, I really want to get over my anger issues. The universe gives you a shitload of things to get angry about. It's incredible. And you might think that's not fair, but it will give you what you've asked for. So it's a practice. And you know what? It is a conscious, this is a 5%. This is a conscious practice to choose every day to let go of the things that aren't serving you every single day, because you will get given opportunities every day to get sad, to get shameful, to get angry, to get bitter. You'll get opportunities every single day. You then choose if that's where you want to be every single day. But it is a conscious activity that will become habitual. And like I say, I talk a lot about the subconscious. With a couple of people, I've been talking heavily about the 5% and the power of that 5% conscious brain that we have got to take total control of our destiny. That isn't on beliefs. That isn't subconscious. That is 5% of pure unadulterated freedom we have every single day. That's not attached to beliefs. That's not attached to trauma. Nothing to do with past lives. Nothing to do with anything but utter conscious freedom. So we just use it wisely. Yeah. And like I say, I am somebody who is absolutely 100% subconscious healing is where it's at. But conscious decisions are powerful. Making the choice that when somebody grinds your shit, just don't get ground. Okay. Practice it. It is an absolute practice. And the more you do it, the better you will get at it. And you will get challenged because people won't like it, because they'll invite you into an argument. You'll be like, okay, I don't mind what you think of me. Well, you don't care that I think you're an asshole. Thanks though, but no. You don't care that I think that you're really, really mean and unloving and you're this, you're that, and the other. Not really, no, because I don't think that. And all that matters is what I think. You know, you will get opportunities to be, you'll get people, it happened the other day. Just you'll get didn't treat my children, but anybody goes for me, it's my kids. Someone shouted at my child, and I was like, whoa, oh, that's a great opportunity. I was like, oh, excuse me, I don't think, you know, I'm not sure what the problem is here. I didn't go, oi, oi, back off, sunshine, you twat. I didn't say that, which I would have done a couple of years ago when he was shouted at my child. Like, so it's a case of, okay, so I get to choose now where I'm going. This was his experience. This isn't my journey, but I get to now step into my power. But am I going to do it in a way that I won't be heard and that I just look insane and I can't rationalize? Because for whatever reason, he chose for someone to shout at him. That was his co-creation. What am I going to create on the back of it? I get to choose. But it is a very conscious thing to do. And I would say letting go is the one thing that is incredibly conscious. Like I say, it's not the subconscious. Yeah, we can let go when we go in. So say you're getting healing or you're seeing somebody to do with beliefs and your subconscious and hypnotherapy and however you're choosing to get healed. I know there's just tarot, and there's all different ways of understanding our patterns and why we do what we do and the future versions of us. But the very conscious thing right now is letting go of every single thing that is not serving us. Have I explained how to do that? Do you think well enough? Do you have to say, do you want to, have I explained like some really easy ways to do that, like now? Is everybody in yes or no? Would you want me to go with it? Yeah. Okay, cool. There are some great kind of books and tips and things on it as well. Letting Go, probably the best book. Where is it? I've got a book down. I think it's propping up my laptop. Letting Go is a really great book because it explains different things and different ways to, but Letting Go, by David Hawkins, I think. Really great book, but it goes into it quite deeply as well. But ultimately, because I'm passionate about women creating the life of their dreams and prospering financially and in relationships and with every single thing they want to create. A big part of so I'm, like I said, I'm starting Prosper on Purpose on my Wednesday. I was going to start later, but I'm having a baby in 8 weeks. So it's a 8-week course. So I've got to be a little bit careful. I don't like overlap and end up in the birthing pool whilst coaching, because that might be, but it'd be interesting. Who knows? But so I'm starting it Wednesday, which is the week before I thought I would. But Prosper on Purpose is all about diving into your purpose, but there is so much we need to let go of our attachments to money, our attachments to abundance, our attachments to ourselves. And a big part of that, which is quite new this time, is releasing, firstly, what we think we know about ourselves, and secondly, what we think we believe about ourselves, and actually what we believe about the things we want to create. And when it comes to creating prosperity, which I use prosperity rather than money now, because prosperity is kind of bigger. Money is what is incredible. Wealth is incredible, but prosperity is the overriding feeling that we can create. And then wealth, physical money, stuff, beautiful relationships, things will come into our world, but they come from all different places as well as money. So prosperity, and then living your true design and purpose. I mean, Stefania mentioned it earlier with human design, powerful. But living your purpose is an utter surrender to the shoulda, woulda, couldas, to what you think you should be doing. Especially if you're somebody who's been trained in probably about 75 million modalities. And you can do pretty much, you can probably play a piccolo and do hypnotherapy all at the same time. But how the hell does that resonate when you want to create a life when you're living with ease and grace and on purpose and not living hectically? Like, life can be really easy, but life can be simple and life can be easy, and we can create total abundance without working 70-hour weeks. We just don't believe it yet. And if you're doing that and you are bashing your head against the wall, prosperity isn't going to come to you until you believe it's easy and it's actually your divine, not even your divine right. It's how it's meant to be. Like, you're meant to prosper in life. You're not meant to be poor and live in poverty and to suffer. That's not why we're here. We're not here to suffer. And I've said it loads of times before, but if you think about the universe, if the universe is creating lots of awesomeness and they've got a lot of people suffering, that's not helping create this wonderful light, is it? What it's doing is actually draining the universe. It's fine that people are in people are suffering, but they need these light workers. But for the whole world to level up, we all need to be prospering, don't we? Really. So it's the divine, like it's inevitable if you believe it is. And that isn't just me like woo-wooing it out. Once you believe your success and prosperity and living your purpose is just how it's meant to be, kid you not, it starts happening. And so that's, yeah. So for any of you who want to go into this a lot deeper, we start on Wednesday. I know some of you are already doing it with me, or have done a bit of it before and are redoing it, which is really cool. But that's starting on Wednesday, and it's powerful because it's forever as well. So if you want to really get some amazing like turnaround of your head, and not your mindset but your belief set. Like mindset, like I've said it, but mindset's bollocks, quite frankly. It really means nothing. If you want to change your life, you have to change what you consciously decide every day, and you have to shift what you believe. And don't just say you believe something, actually believe it, and get really close to your soul. And living on purpose is the frigging easiest thing you'll ever do. I said, how do I know if I'm living on purpose? I said, well, do you wake up and go, oh, do you wake up and go, oh my God, I love my life? Do you wake up and think, gosh, I don't really feel like I've even worked today, because it's just like, I'm just cracking on, everything's great. If you're living your purpose, there's not a massive amount of effort and resistance. If you're living the life, that your dharmic path, it's kind of easy. So if things are difficult and there is resistance all of the time, there is a probability you need to lean into what your purpose truly is. Now, it doesn't mean that like the job you're doing is wrong and you need to sort of, well, I need to retrain in something else. It just means that whatever it is, the kind of the path you're on, even with your skills, your beautiful gifts, it might be that you're just doing it in a way that isn't aligned. And that word has been overused, I know. But so listen, if you would like to go further into letting go, to understanding your purpose, to actually allowing yourself to receive prosperity, and everything else to do with incremental changes, to do with your belief systems, I give people a really easy way to crack your beliefs as well on a subconscious level, and to start creating wealth, actual money, and to start creating a life you want. You have an option to start with the live coaching calls on Wednesday, where there's about the 33 people doing that. Might not all be live, but they'll be there on Wednesday. But I hope after today I've given you food for thought on things you can do to let go, and the importance of it, and that however much you think you've done, there is more to do when it comes to releasing a hold if you looked at all the parts of your life that are causing you stress, is probably you're holding on to things, ideals, outcomes, other people's stuff. There'll be things that you are holding on to that need to be released. So I do hope that I've given a bit of my, like, it's literally my learnings and my doings and my beings that I talk about, and I hope that it's resonated with you and given you some ideas of what you could do to make your life better, like now. So yeah, but if you do want to know, like I said, this recording will go out to lots of people, to you. And if you do want to know more about Prosper on Purpose, just drop me an email, because that starts on Wednesday. And if you just want to even have a chat about letting go or tell me that I'm wrong, I do respond. No, I'm joking. Get in touch as well. I'm always up for a hot debate. But I'm going to say goodbye now. But anybody who wants to stay on and just unmute, that's cool. So thank you so much for being here. It's quite nice to finish. Starting at 8, starting at 7 means you finish earlier, so it's pretty cool. But I'm gonna stop recording and then unmute everybody. If anybody's got any questions or any, like, I think you're talking shits, you can do that now. Bye for now, everybody else. There you go.